So yesterday we had a member ask us, is it possible to actually get people to register to a webinar using Stealth Webinar directly inside of Facebook Messenger and also Instagram? So in this video, we're going to show you the how-to from beginning to end. So let's first show you how it's done inside of mobile. Let's go. So the first message we're going to get inside of Facebook Messenger then is the actual dynamic values of when the webinar is actually starting. So we've got the register now, so which is happening right now, or we can select one of the dynamic dates here provided at the bottom. So let's go ahead and select join now. Great. Okay, we're waiting for you to hop in, tap the button below to join your webinar. So let's go into how this was actually created. So before we get into the video, we rate this as a level 3 skill level. Let's go. So we're inside of the actual Manychat dashboard right now, and let's go through the flow on how we actually made this work and how we configured it. All right, so just as any type of flow, you're going to start out with your welcome message and things like that. And then obviously we need to go in and get some user input, which is the user's email. So we're just using the user input field there to collect the user's email as they come through. And you'll see there that we've got the condition just in case we already have their email. Okay, so this is the main bulk of it here. So this is the first external request. Okay, we'll get into that just in a second here. So if we just scroll across the left hand side, so you'll see that I'm just using galleries here instead of the actual quick replies. The reason for that then, it's just because of the actual information we're displaying within inside of the custom field. For example, the date, the time, and things like that. Really, really simple. And then we just use the action blocks here then to set custom fields to a specific custom field, which is the webinar start time. And then we're using this different type of date string, which I'll explain a little bit shortly, because Stealth Seminars API to do with their time and date is slightly different from what Manychat uses there also. And then as we come down, then we've got this external request again. So this is where the actual webinar will be booked and all the information will be sent to your webinar dashboard. And also if you're triggering things like active campaign, then that's all managed all within inside of that block there. But as you can see, we're just bypassing it because we don't want to go in, because this is an actual user's webinar account. So we don't want to go in and start creating a ton of bookings for them. Okay, and then we just use a condition here then, just to see if they've actually selected today's date, okay, or the happening now webinar, or they've actually selected one of the future dates. And we just use this condition block here, and as you can see then we've got the response messages. Great. We're, if they select watch now, we've got the great, we're waiting for you to hop in, tap the button below, or whether you're delivering it via email, the link, or wherever it may be inside there. And if they've booked for a future date, then we're just using this. Perfect, that's all booked for you. Yes, you can go ahead and display the time with the custom field, that's no problems, but we just left that out for this example here. And this part, or this action, the clear custom field, okay, this is just via our testing, so we just go ahead and clear the custom field. So let's hop over into the actual first external request within inside of here then. Okay, so with any type of external request, obviously you get all the different functions for the request type, the post, the get, the put, and also the delete. So Stealth Seminar is obviously we need to do a get. So we're retrieving information from your platforms via the API directly into here. So this is where your request URL will go in, and you can find this within inside of the Stealth Seminar API docs. And then underneath this blurred out section, then this is where your ID will go for that specific webinar. Yes, you can have multiple webinars, okay, and you can just use custom fields to do the variation in that. So then we come down to the authorization or the headers. So we don't need an API key, so it's just a content type, and the value is application JSON. All right, so this is where it comes into a slightly different bit, because Stealth Seminars date and time, okay, it's in their format. I can't remember, it's like ISO 81 something, and Manychat doesn't seem to manage that very well. So what we do then is we use the custom path, and I'll show you exactly where you can get these custom path values from in the software that we actually use all of the time to find the paths to whatever you want to retrieve data from. And as you can see then, we've set up custom fields to go with each of these, and you'll see the difference in the custom fields. And the reason why we're using this then is so these first 5 here, this is to display the real time, real date. Okay, because of Stealth Seminars format of their date and time. Okay, we're just using a string format to pass that information there. So as you can see, we've doubled up on each one of these. Okay, so like again, you've got the date and time custom field, and then we're using a string custom field for exactly the same values or the same paths here. All right, so if I just go ahead and click on save, and what I'll do is I'll hop over into our Pathfinder and show you exactly what I mean by using this. So this is Json Pathfinder. I use this pretty much on a daily basis just to try and find the paths and the specific values for each one. So as you'll see then, the Stealth Seminar's actual time format is this here, and Manychat just doesn't recognize that. So we pull that in on both types of fields. So we use the date and time and also the string, because we need to pass this through as a string on the actual post request, creating the actual webinar. I'll talk about that in a second anyway. It's probably confusing you, but you don't really need to worry about this. But this is where you're going to put in all of your information. Okay, so this would be like the response, and here then you can go in and it says up here then, okay, this is your path value. Obviously return that X into the $ as normal. All right, let's hop back over into the chatbot. Okay, so now that we've actually configured the paths, okay, inside of this external request, this is where we can start putting all of that data in there. So you'll see that I don't need a webinar date 0, okay, as it would come through on a path, because we know it's going to be a starting now or join now type of webinar registrations. In here then, this is where we're using one of the custom fields. So this is the date and time, and you can see that we've if we come inside of here then, that we've actually just formatted that to a readable format saying January the 2nd at 15:04. So that's the time format. It will come through there, and we've just relayed that across all of those galleries there with a select button. So when the user comes in and they select whichever date or time they want to attend the webinar, then we just set a custom field. Basically, we've created a custom field which is called set webinar start time to, okay, the webinar date string. Okay, and this basically transfers that time or converts that standard time into the format that Stealth Webinar require inside of their actual format, okay, when we're doing a post request. So let's just hop in and take a look at the post request itself then. Okay, so you'll see here then, so we've got the post request. This is the request URL. Okay, again, this is where your webinar ID will go inside of that. And again, the content type is just application JSON. Okay, so here then inside of the body, you'll see that we're using the webinar start time custom field. So this will have the entire payload of whichever time and date that user selects. Then all we need then is a name and email, and we're just using the standard Manychat custom fields to do that. And as you'll see, there's literally 0 response mapping because it's not required. And that's pretty much about it, to be fair. So that's how easy it is to manage your webinar registrations via Manychat using Stealth Webinars, actually their API. So we've got this start time contains, okay, like I said, this one then is just managing if they've actually selected a time and date for now or for another time. Okay, and then you can go on and progress through, add them to active campaign or whatever it may be, and filter back the watch time, whether they actually attended the seminar, and so many more. So guys, if you have any questions, always feel free to ask away. My name's Pete, founder here at Sendly.